are entering another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. There's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Planet Crafter. For eons, humanity has gazed upon the stars, dreaming of new frontiers, new homes. And when the call came, we answered. Sent forth to the desolate, the barren, the forgotten, to breathe life into the lifeless, to terraform. This, my friends, is Prime, the cradle of our terraforming ambitions, the first brushstroke on a canvas of cosmic dust. We've walked its dusty plains, built our humble abodes, and watched as life, against all odds, blossomed from its very soil. Prime, a testament to our will. But the universe, as it always does, held new secrets, new challenges, and in the vast expanse, a new companion emerged, a celestial wanderer, cloaked in mystery, beckoning us to its shores. This is Selenea. A moon, yes, but a world unto itself, with its own whispers, its own unique secrets, waiting to be unearthed. Two worlds, both destined for transformation, both bearing the imprint of our touch. And in this series, we embark on a grand experiment, a ranking of these two incredible celestial bodies. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, buckle up, because today we're diving into something a little different, a little more cosmic. As you just heard, we're kicking off a brand new Planet Crafter series, and it's called Prime versus Selenea. Now, Planet Crafter, for those of you who might not know, is an incredible survival terraforming game where you take a barren planet and you turn it into a habitable paradise. It's truly one of the most satisfying gaming experiences out there. The premise of this series is simple. We're going to be terraforming both Prime, the original planet in Planet Crafter, and Selenea, the brand new moon introduced in the latest update. And as we progress, we're going to be ranking them. Yes, my highly scientific ranking system based purely on my own personal experience and preferences. What will we be ranking? Well, everything. From the initial starting experience, the biomes, the resource availability, visual aesthetics, the challenges they present, even down to the satisfaction of seeing life flourish on each. Every video in this series will be a chapter focusing on specific aspect or stage of the terraforming process. And speaking of stages, here's a crucial rule for this series. Each chapter will have a specific goal related to the terraforming process. For example, in a future chapter, our goal might be to reach oxygen stage or water, We'll be actively playing the game, working towards that specific goal on both Prime and Selenea, and then discussing our experiences and how that impacts our ranking. So it's not just a review, it's a living, breathing experiment. So for this very first chapter, The Tale of Two Worlds, our focus is on the foundational differences, specifically the map and the initial environment. This is where you first land, where you first set up your humble beginnings, and it sets the tone for everything that follows. The Prime map feels to me very open, almost sprawling in its early stages. You have these vast empty areas which can be a little intimidating at first. Resource-wise, you've got plenty of iron, cobalt, magnesium scattered everywhere. The initial shelter you find is often a great starting point for basic crafting. One of the defining features of Prime's early game is the sheer amount of open space. You can run for quite a long while before hitting any significant geographical barrier. This gives you a lot of freedom in terms of where you want to set up your initial base. Do you want to be near the crash site for those early pods? Or do you venture out to more centralized location? As you expand on Prime, you start discovering these distinct biomes. You've got the Iridium Cave, the sulfur fields, the aluminum veins, the Grand Rift, they're all relatively spread out, requiring a bit of exploration to find. This is encouraging you to make outposts, and eventually you'll use teleporters to travel between them more efficiently. The map is huge and has plenty of things to discover. Now, let's hop over to Selenea. Right from the get-go, Selenea feels very different. Visually, it's got this unique, almost ethereal blue and purple hue, rather than Prime's reddish orange. And the map? It's a completely different beast. The most striking difference on Selenea is the terrain. The planet is completely barren and has structures from previous terraformers covered in ice. These structures can be accessed once the ice has melted. Selenea has its own unique resource, selenium. It's crucial for its use in specific items. When comparing the maps, Prime feels like a grand open-world adventure where you slowly uncover its secrets across vast distances. Selenea is notably more challenging, particularly in the early game with fewer initial resources and more desolate landscape compared to the resource-rich Prime. You may find yourself needing to travel further and explore more to gather necessary materials. So, after spending considerable time on both Prime and Selenea for this initial comparison, let's tally up the scores based on 5 categories. The first is look. Prime gets a point based on the overwhelming amount of orange. However, Selenea also gets a point for its choice of colors. It just feels very cool and cold when you step out. So that's Prime 1 and Selenea 1. The second is feel. Now Prime gets a point because just how big and empty you're made to feel when you step out for the first time. Selenea also gets a point because of the dark, barren, icy feeling you get when you realize that you are alone, but you're not the first. So that's Prime 2 and Selenea 2. The third is scale. This is where Prime gets a point for its grand open feel. It's just huge. Selenea, while large, doesn't quite match that planetary scale, so it doesn't get a point here. So it's Prime 3 and Selenea 2. Prime is now in the lead. The fourth is difficulty. Prime is very forgiving, almost too forgiving, so it doesn't get a point. However, Selenea is more challenging, especially around resource hunting. Therefore, it earns a point. So now it's Prime 3 and Selenea 3. It's all tied up. So we're tied up at 3-3, coming down to our final category. That's resources. And this is where the tiebreaker happens. While Selenea absolutely provides all the resources you need to survive and forces you to be incredibly resourceful, Prime just overwhelms you with them. The sheer abundance of basic materials on Prime allows you to focus so much more on the core terraforming loop rather than constant resource management in the early game. It lets you get building and progressing much faster. So, for its generous resource distribution that allows for a smoother, less resource-stressed terraforming experience, Prime takes the point for resources. And that means for Chapter 1, Prime wins. In the next chapter, we're shifting gears and diving into the absolute fundamentals. Getting started. We'll be looking at those crucial first steps on both worlds, crafting our earliest tools, setting up our very first habitat, and gathering those initial resources that are vital for survival. How do Prime and Selenea compare when you've just crash landed and are figuring out your next move? Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on Chapter 2. Let me know in the comments below which planet you found easier to get started on, or if you agree with my very scientific and unbiased ranking so far. And if you did enjoy the video, let me know by leaving a like. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy crafting.